So, you may wonder, why are we sideways and all that? I'll tell you why. Yeah, you're currently on a fridge. Um, so it's a little bit sideways. Now let's turn the oven down a bit or the stove top because I'm cooking at the moment. Well, about just heating up the pan. I'm going out to Durant's Lake today or around there because I have to go to a craft fair because there is something that I'm getting for Kiona for Christmas. You guys aren't going to see it just yet. Maybe I'll record some clips today and I'll put them in a later video because I don't want to spoil the surprise for Kiona because she's my #1 fan and she watches these videos like religiously. So I am going to sign off now and get to cooking. So peace out, y'all. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about what we just witnessed in the main event. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Kevin the Trailblazer or Big Mouth Holland, depending on what he's feeling. That was an absolutely amazing fight. I loved it. I absolutely loved that fight. I'm sure you guys did as well. For me, as I'm compiling my list, let me take my glasses off here. As I'm compiling my list for like top 5 fights of the year, that for sure is going to be going in there. And I'm really excited for these next 2 events we have for the year, and then we have like a month off. I think it's just shy of a month or something like that. You guys know, if you saw my last video, you know how I feel about Wonder Boy currently where he stands with the welterweight elite and his age, and do I honestly think if he's going to, be able to compete with the grapplers of the world. We know he can compete with the strikers. I mean, that was an insane performance he did against Kevin Holland, right? But the 39, almost 40-year-old Stephen Thompson, I just don't know if he's able to compete with the likes of Colby Covington or Kamaru Usman or Gilbert Burns or some of these other guys, even like a Sean Brady or like, Bilal Muhammad, right? Like, we already know how the Gilbert Burns and Bilal Muhammad fights go, right? It's lay and pray the whole time pretty much. So I have compiled a little bit of a list. There's some honorable mentions, but there are also, it's a list of 2, 3 up-and-comers, some unranked guys, and then 2 guys who are technically unranked as well, but they're like legends, So I'm going to start off with the unranked guys, and then I'm going to do the legends. Just remember, I am not by any means a professional analyst. I currently don't have a martial arts background. I have a martial arts watching background, but I don't have a martial arts background. So I'm not going to be able to analyze these fighters and the possible matchups like how an actual, like when Michael Bisping or a Paul Felder or Dominic Cruz or Daniel Cormier or any of these guys who are on the panel, right? So, without further ado, let's just get right into it. So, for the first one, a really, really exciting guy who I could actually genuinely see this happening in the future. I'm going off of Tapology, so this shows the MMA like top welterweights in the world at the moment. It doesn't show it off the UFC. But most of these guys are UFC, and if you're a top 20 welterweight in the UFC, you're most definitely one of the top 20 best in the world, in my opinion. But for number 1, Michel Pereira. I almost got that one. Yeah, Michel Pereira. He has tamed it down a little bit, but you know how when he first came in, that flashy style that he had, all the spinning attacks and the flips and all of that stuff. I feel like even though he's tamed that down a bit, if you look at his last fight, I think his last fight was against Ponzinibbio, I think. Yeah, Santiago Ponzinibbio, which was an amazing fight. It was a great fight. People's main event, as they say, because that was the Ketlin Vieira Holly Holm fight night. I honestly think that those 2 would be an excellent like up and comer type of showcase fight. Old guard, new guard. Let's see, he's on a 5-fight win streak. So dating from 2020, submission, decision. And honestly, man, he's 28-11 and 2 no contests. I honestly feel like that would be such a fun match. Now, all of these matches, everyone has a puncher's chance in MMA, but they're all winnable fights to a degree for Stephen Thompson, right? But I feel like that could really be a fun fight that Stephen Thompson would have a lot of potential to win in my opinion. Who knows? I mean, like I said, puncher's chance, but I feel like they could definitely go at it for a few rounds. And one thing that we do need to remember that I should have prefaced this clip with, these are not like main events. These are not like 5-round fights. These can be 3 rounds. They can be, a lot of these would be an excellent co-main event at like the Apex, or you could just put it on like a main card fight, right? Like Michelle Pereira and Stephen Thompson being, the third to last fight of the night on a pay-per-view, or even one of these like, bigger fight night cards like what we had, like, like in Orlando, UC Orlando, or if they go somewhere else, I feel like that could be, even, on the pay-per-view now this would be a little bit too soon, I think, because Stephen Thompson was pretty bruised up, but like even in like Brazil, right, that would be huge. Thompson versus Pereira. Now, I don't think that Michelle Pereira, any of these guys I'm about to mention except for the veterans, are at the notoriety where it could be like, or we're going to fight the number 6 guy in the world. I think Stephen Thompson is the number 6 guy in the world, right? But I think it could be fun. I think it could at least be fun. We got to kind of suspend the disbelief a little bit, and why not? So next we have a guy who is bordering along the honorable mention line, but there's a lot of reason as to why I think that he would be a good candidate, and that's Muslim Salikov. Muslim Salikov was going on a fairly good-sized win streak. I think. Let me just take a look. When he lost earlier this year to Li Jingliang. Oh yeah, he's going on a 5 fight win streak. And then before that, there's a little bit of a loss, and then like a very large win streak. Yeah, but Muslim Salikov, king of kung fu, he's 38 or something like that. He's a brawler. He's a good fighter. He likes to get in close and have a dirty fight. I think there is a little bit of wrestling in the game, but with where he's from in the world, wrestling is wrestling, sambo, judo, all of those sports, from the Caucasus, right? You're going to wrestling is obviously going to be a big part, but King of Kung Fu, you should have just seen him against Andre Fialho on. It was the same night. That was the total whole fiasco about Derek Lewis. It was like Derek Lewis and Sergey. I can't remember which one of the Sergeys it was, but where that whole thing happened. Sergey Spivak, I think it was. Yeah, Sergey Spivak. And then Derek Lewis had to pull out. But that being said, yeah, Andre Fialho versus Muslim Salikov was a barn burner. It was crazy. Spinning attacks, all of that. And I really do think that Muslim Salikov versus, seeing these back in the win column in devastating fashion, may I add. I think him versus Stephen Thompson, again, having it somewhere. And I know Muslim Salikov does not have the notoriety, but him and Stephen Thompson are like 1 year apart. So put it somewhere on the main card, and not necessarily pay-per-view, but it would be a fun fight. Remember, we're just going for fun fights with Stephen Thompson. So, I'm here, someone's house, so if I die, frick. Alright, here we go. girlfriend secured. Because the girlfriend, as I previously stated, watches these videos, I will not be showing you the gift. But hopefully you enjoyed the B-roll of the place. I've met some lovely people. They were so nice. I just had a really good time, and it's very small little, it's like a house that's now like a studio sort of gallery place, and it's awesome. It is so nice. I'm very happy with the gift that I got her, and I'll show it in a later video. But man, this is chalking up to be a good day. What a blessing. All right, I think the view out here is really good, and this may kind of end up being sort of awkward, but I just wanna show you guys the view. One sec. Yeah, I know this place is super great. I could honestly see myself living out here one day. Who knows? Get married, go out here. I don't know if that's actually gonna happen, me living out here, but it's pretty quiet out here. It's pretty awesome. Anyways, I gotta go. I'm currently getting my windows washed and my gas pumped for me. I've never had this happen before in my life, but I feel like a billionaire right now. I'm in like middle of butt frick nowhere, but I may as well be in, you know, Monaco. This is class. As you can see, the views are pretty intense. Like I said, basically Monaco. So I'm here in the London Drugs parking lot. I just got some photos back that I took a while ago, just some like film 35mm stuff, and I just wanted to show you guys this. Look at that. There she be. Kiona. Awesome. I just wanted to show you guys that. Alrighty, on to the next. Alrighty, I'm gonna fix your hair. All good now? All pretty? Yeah, so now what are we doing? We're just gonna walk around the after parade, post parade, and then we're gonna go to your special sport check thing and cook. Something like that. Until next time.
What is wrong with letting people be happy?
Say something of wisdom.
Something of wisdom. This is the year when we get to light each other's spirits up with a little bit more joy and a little bit more hope. Because that's why God gave his son Jesus to come to the world.
Thanks, Mom. And I want to quickly get into the honorable mentions. Just some longer, rangy guys. One guy who just fought and just disposed of Nico Price. Philip the Fresh Prince Rowe. He's on a 4-fight TKO streak. He lost to decision in December of 2021, but before that, there was a TKO, then 2 subs before that, and then I think obviously some more wins before that. But this guy, he's on the come up, and you know, I think before he fought like a Stephen Thompson, you know, I know we have to suspend our disbelief, but in legitimacy here, I think he would need to have a few more like legitimate, you know, fights. Maybe even I think if he would have to fight a Stephen Thompson, if he were to fight a Stephen Thompson, he would like need to get into the rankings or really get his name out there somehow. And then another guy on our honorable mentions would be like someone like Max Griffin, or I know he's coming off a loss, but Daniel Rodriguez. I feel like Daniel Rodriguez would honestly probably get picked apart by Stephen Thompson, but I think it could be fun. And now I want to get into the last, going back from the honorable mentions and going into our people who I think like the up and comers. Ian Machado Gary. I think that guy, there's high like possibility that could eventually happen, whether that be like a fight night, doing something on like a fight night, or like headlining a fight night, or the co-main event of a fight night, put it on the pay-per-view card somewhere in there. That would be tons of fun. Long range kickboxing. Ian Machado Gary. I know he's changed his name, so we're gonna try and honor that a little bit. Ian Machado Gary. I don't love him, but I will admit, he is a good fighter. He genuinely is. I mean, my dream fight right now, part of the unranked pool, is Ian Machado Gary versus Jack Della Maddalena. Jack would win. I know, Jack would win, though, in my opinion. But those guys, like Ian Machado Gary versus Stephen Thompson, that would be a very good fight. Put that on the main card. Put that as the co-main event. A few more fights and Ian Machado Gary could be ranked, so that could be a possibility. But I don't know, because just for the fact that Ian Machado Gary has, to a degree, stepped out of the limelight just a little bit. I don't know, maybe he has some stuff in his personal life. I'm not too sure. But honestly, man, that would be such a fun fight. Those two, put it on the main card. And then, last but not least, and then we get into the legends, is Jack Della Maddalena versus Stephen Thompson, or the winner of Li Jingliang versus Jack Della Maddalena. Now, that fight is not set in stone, for what I know, because I think they're trying to get Jack on the Perth card, which makes lots of sense. But I hear there's rumblings. It'll probably happen. Jack took essentially no damage in his last fight. I mean, he obviously took damage. It's a fist fight, but not tons of damage. So yeah, that would be a good fight. The Leech versus Stephen Thompson, or Jack versus Stephen Thompson, both of those. Again, put it on the main card, 100%, 100%. All right, now we're getting into the legends part of it. I first of all have to say, RDA versus Bam Bam. That was great. Oh my gosh, what a great fight. Well, first of all, it wasn't necessarily a great fight, but it was a good performance. You would have wanted to see some striking and picking apart, and there was a bit of that to a degree, but it was mainly wrestling, which was smart. You know, you're here for a win. You're here for a win. Sometimes you're here for the flashy stuff, but you're here for a win. In RDA, you did a great job. Just more fun fights for you, lad. But RDA versus Stephen Thompson, like a legend sort of thing. That would be an awesome co-main event type deal, or main card. Why I keep saying, well, you could main event that. You could main event that for sure. Like in another one of these kind of bigger fight night cards, put in some location, whether it be somewhere in the States, or somewhere in the States where there's not a lot of Brazilians, and maybe somewhere in the States where there's a lot of Brazilians, or you could do it in Brazil. I know they would probably do Brazil for like a pay-per-view sort of thing. I don't know, maybe put that on the Brazil card. That could be fun. Stephen Thompson's pretty bruised up, so who knows? Last but not least, well, there's going to be, actually, no, I'll save the last but not least for actually last. Dustin Poirier at 170 pounds. Sort of an honorable mention, but also could be legitimate. Put him up to 170, that would be tons of fun. There could be possible wrestling in that, but also on the flip side of another 170 pounder, this is just fun fights. That could be, the legends actually could be the main event part, because Stephen Thompson is a legend and totally main event or co-main event worthy. And then the next few guys I'm about to mention are totally like main events only, or on the main card, right? Pretty high up on the main card as well. Justin Gaethje as well. Dustin Poirier, those guys, either those guys versus Stephen Thompson at 170 pounds would be a blast. So much fun. And maybe some wrestling, probably out of Dustin. But Justin likes to wrestle when he has to, but mainly it's just striking madness. Who knows? I think either of those guys at 170 versus Stephen Thompson, sign me up. That would be tons and tons and tons of fun. Now, actually, last but not least, Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor versus Stephen Thompson would be a good fight. Conor's around 5'9", and I think Stephen Thompson's in that 6'1" range. It would be a little bit of a reach height thing. But honestly, man, that would be a fun fight. That would be a really fun fight. you know, when they were doing the ESPN post-fight thing, when it was, I think, Chiesa and the regular crew up in the loft, they were talking and they were saying, I think Alan Joban was the guy who asked him. He said, you know, something Conor McGregor is going to do a return, and would that be a name? And Stephen Thompson, in the most politest way possible, said, yeah, that'd be good. That would be good. That would be good. And of course, that wouldn't just be good. It'd be freaking great, dude. It'd be awesome. I think that would be just so much fun. That fight, oh, please, sign me up. Sign me up. Sign me up. Well, that concludes the end of this clip and the video. I want to say thank you guys for watching, and see you next time.